How you doing this Wednesday?
Pretty good.
Is
Can't
it
complain.
Wednesday?
It's
My days are
Wednesday.
messed up.
It's Wednesday. They stack up together.
Yesterday was awful for me in terms of like one thing after the other, and it just completely threw me off. And so I'm just kind of getting my bearings today.
Yeah, it's crossover season with sports. We got basketball and baseball and softball and
Yeah,
all the things going on right now. So it's certainly a busy time in the sports world, but
yeah,
I like it.
yeah. Well, I mean, and I got my quarter zip vest on, Alabama Sports Hall of Fame on, kind of feeling good about that, and just had a plate full of Chinese food, as you saw, as you
Yeah.
witnessed.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my carbs up and getting ready for this run toward March Madness. So,
Yeah.
I guess my first question for you is, just kind of generally, what are your thoughts about the SEC season this year? Just the entire, when you look at the whole picture and you think about SEC basketball, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think that comparing it to last year, you're probably down a little
or
bit,
any year, yeah.
right?
I mean,
So you're obviously down a little bit from last year. I think, I saw a field of 68 prediction with 11 teams in it, making it to March Madness from the SEC. So it's still a good mark. They had 14 last year, though. So
yeah,
I think that there's some pretty prolific offenses in the league. I think that the SEC has tons of talent from top to bottom. I mean, when you look at every single team, it feels like every team has a top dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at Mississippi State, Josh Hubbard. You look at Texas, Dalen Swain, Darius Aiko. You just got guys on top of guys. We hadn't even mentioned Phylon and Keyshawn Hall and those type of guys. So I think that there's tons of talent. It's a competitive league full of really, really good coaches. So I've enjoyed watching SEC basketball. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes out the last 2 weeks of the season. I think that if I had to put it right now, I'd say about 10 teams get into March Madness, and I could certainly see a Florida or an Arkansas or really any team making a run like they did last year.
what I like is that I feel like the regular season people are dialed in more now than maybe, let's say, 5 or 10 years ago. I feel like the SEC regular season, and maybe that's just because Alabama and Auburn have been better. Maybe you're not, if you're an Alabama or an Auburn fan, you're not as interested if your team's not as good. Maybe there's just more interest across the state in the regular season. But I remember having a conversation. I went to SEC Media Days a few years ago in Birmingham, and I sat and talked to Jay Billis for a few minutes, and had a super nice guy. Just had a good conversation with him, and I was really concerned about the regular season in college basketball. And it starts during football season, and then that was part of my concern was, were people dialing in in November. Certainly the Dukes and the Kansas fans, they're locked in the whole season. But around where we're from, there wasn't as much interest as your blue bloods. Now, Bama and Auburn are in the discussion for blue bloods, and so it's really good for me to see that there's just a lot of interest in the regular season. And I'm with you. I mean, there's a lot of gamers that are in the league right now. Historically, I mean, Arkansas hasn't been my favorite team in the SEC, but I think when you've got a relevant Arkansas, it makes the league better.
Yeah.
That's been when they're good, and I just think it creates a really, really good dynamic for the conference. So I'm excited about where the conference is. Yeah, maybe in a little bit of a sag this year, but just to your point, I mean, Florida is still very capable of winning it. Vanderbilt's kind of coming out of nowhere, and so I'm excited to see what happens from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got a Vanderbilt who's competing in the SEC like they are this year, the parity across the league is great, which has obviously caused a little bit more interest. So I think that's a good thing. It's funny to talk about a sag this year in the SEC when in reality,
Yeah.
I mean, compare it to 5 years ago.
Exactly.
It's way better than, you're getting a better product of basketball than you've ever gotten. So that's, kudos to the SEC for Sankey, for all these schools who have made SEC basketball, put it on the giving it national relevance.
Yeah, and I mean, and to your point, I mean, credit to the athletic directors for hiring good coaches. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you don't hire a good coach, you're done. I mean, so as you said, there's good coaches around the conference, and so I think they've done a great job of that. All right, let's talk power rankings. Let's go with our top 10 SEC power rankings. And I mean, this is not some hot button discussion topic necessarily, but I mean, I feel like, the 10 are there may be a little bit of variance there, but you may shift a few people. I feel like our lists are going to look very much the same, but let's give me let's go with your, I mean, let's go 10 to 5 and then we'll kind of compare our lists. So,
yeah, slotting in at number 10, I've got Georgia. They got 18-8 overall, 6-7. They've been a bit up and down. Their offense was putting up nearly 100 points in non-con. So it's gone down a little bit in conference play. They've hit a little bit of a slide since the beginning of SEC play. So I'm slotting them at 10. Texas A&M at 9, 17-8 overall, 7-5. They've lost 4 straight. They had a really strong start to conference play. If you'd have asked me 2 to 3 weeks ago, I would have told you Texas A&M was a top 5 team in the SEC. So they're at 9. I got Missouri. I struggled with the 8 spot. I got Missouri at 17-8 overall, 7-5. They've only lost 2 home games this year. I think they're like 31-3 the last 2 seasons at home.
You don't beat Missouri at home,
right? So big physical team, one of the tallest teams in the nation. So they're always going to give whoever they're playing problems just because of their physicality. Got them at 8. Got Texas at 7, 17-9 overall, 8-5 in the SEC. They're on a 5-game win streak. Big fan of Dalen Swain. He's a baller. This is a team who I think will be a scary tournament team come March. So got Texas at 7. At number 6, I've got Kentucky, which those could be really interchangeable. I'm confident with Texas being at number 6. I got Kentucky at 17-9 overall, 8-5 in the SEC. They've lost 2 straight. Good at Rupp Arena with a 13-3 mark at home. So that's a team that's still kind of up and down. I can't really put my finger on Kentucky.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, they have some really nonchalant starts to basketball games. They dig themselves, kind of like Auburn, dig themselves in holes, and they're hard to climb out of. I'm putting Bama at 5. I got them at 8-7, 18-7 overall, 8-4 on a 4-game win streak. That defense is starting to pick up a little bit. Philon, you can't mention Alabama without talking about Philon, one of the league's best scorers. And they've obviously got a big game tonight at the time of recording this on Wednesday against Arkansas. So that'll be a fun game to watch Philon and ACUF go at it. So Georgia, A&M, Missouri, Texas, Kentucky, and Bama from 10 to 5.
Okay, 10 to 5. Okay, so I've got Georgia at 10, Missouri at 9, and that's really purely by eye test. I mean, weren't impressive to me when they played Alabama at home. So I slid Missouri down to 9. Texas A&M at 8. Great coach in Bucky McMillan, and as you mentioned, they've lost the last 4. You kind of get the sense that they may get it rolling again. They just may be in a little bit of a lull right now. I've got Kentucky at 7. Texas is 6, and to me, Texas is one of the most surprising teams, and as you mentioned, won 5 in a row. And then I put Tennessee at 5. As much as I know Tennessee beat Alabama at home, and Tennessee's got the top scoring defense in the SEC. Outstanding 1-2 punch with Gillespie and Ament, but I just feel like right now, on a neutral court, Alabama would probably beat Tennessee. When the 2 teams played, you had Amari Allen out, you had Aiden Holloway out, so you had 2. There's 28 points per game. that were not on the floor in Coleman Coliseum when the Vols faced the Tide the first time. So I'm giving just a little bit of edge to Alabama, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you what my number 4 is. But and again, Rick Barnes does a great job. I think they're a very good team. I think they could make a deep March run. But I think right now, just the way they're playing, I feel like I give Alabama a little bit of an edge. So we'll talk about your 4-1, then we can maybe come back to that discussion.
Yeah. 4-1. I've got Tennessee at 4, and you mentioned it. The only reason I gave Tennessee this 4 spot was the head-to-head with Bama. 18-7, 8-4, 2 straight elite defense. They, no team has scored more than 70 points in their last 5 outings. So. You know what you're getting with a Rick Barnes-led team, and that's physicality, rebounding, defense. Ament is really good. He can go off any night. So I'm going to give Tennessee that 4 spot. At 3, I got Vanderbilt, 21-4 overall. All 4 losses in SEC play, right? So they slipped a little bit to start SEC play, came in with an undefeated record. They had the head scratcher to Oklahoma, what was that, week before last? But they've won 2 straight. That's, as we talked about it a minute ago, if Vanderbilt's sitting in your top 4 in the SEC, I mean, that's awesome. So Vanderbilt at 3, I got Arkansas at number 2, 19-6, 9-3. I mean, Darius Acuff.
That's all you got to say.
Darius Acuff, 6 straight 20-point games. They beat LSU by 29 last week, beat Auburn by 13. So they're lethal. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Richmond.
John
Calipari.
Yeah.
Hey, Richmond, Billy Richmond, the third for Arkansas the other day against Auburn. I mean, he could have put a whole highlight reel together against Auburn.
25 points, right?
25 points, and it seemed like 4 or 5 of those were fast break, breakaway slams. So he had a bunch of highlight plays, and then obviously number 1 we got Florida. 19-6, 10-2. No teams come within 15 points except for Vandy and Kentucky, which Vandy was a 9-point game, and then obviously they lost to Missouri and Auburn, but they hadn't lost since Auburn. So, when we talk about Auburn, that Florida win's huge. That Florida win is what is keeping Auburn in the conversation right now for postseason play. So, this is Florida team that's dominating in SEC play. I think they'll continue to surge, and I don't know. We'll see if I don't quite think they're good enough to two-peat. Like they, I don't think they have that Walter Clayton Jr. type of player. I do think this is a Sweet 16 Elite 8 team that can go and make some noise. I'm not ruling out a Final Four. Todd Golden's a heck of a coach, but maybe a little bit down from last year, but they're still taking care of business. They're the best team in the SEC.
I just think that they've got that dog in them, man. I mean, like that's what Florida's brand is right now. I mean, look, they've won 3 national championships in basketball, and that's like Michigan State, UConn level. I mean, maybe not UConn level, but pretty close. I mean, they've won 3. That's a big deal. And, Golden brings a swagger. I mean, you go back to the comment that he made, before the Alabama game, we're going to beat them anyway. And it's that kind of dog that they've got in them that makes them really, really dangerous, and just their front court, man, with Condon and Chinlu and just their ability to defend. I mean, I know we've talked about this over and over and over, but when you commit yourself to guard and you look at the top 2 defenses in the SEC, it's no surprise to me that those teams are good, and that's Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee's got the top scoring defense in the SEC. Florida's got the second scoring defense in the SEC. They're only allowing 71 points a game. Conversely, and we'll get to mine right now, mine's 4 Alabama, 3 Arkansas, 2 Vanderbilt, and 1 Florida. And you look at the Florida-Vanderbilt game. I mean, Florida beat them at Vandy in a very tight game. So, to me, there's not a whole lot of separation between 1 through 3 right now. Alabama has really taken a step forward. The last time that you and I talked, we were we're talking about how quickly your fortunes can turn, in basketball, and it's turned in a positive direction for Alabama ever since that Florida, and it really started with the Texas A&M win. But Bama's on the rise, and they're still dead last in scoring in the SEC. They're giving up more than anybody, and again, if they could just kind of commit themselves a little bit more, I think you would see them starting to slide up a little bit. And you mentioned it. I mean, great matchup tonight. And they're projecting Alabama as a 4 seed. I feel like they're going to end up being a little bit higher than that, maybe a 3 seed. But barring any catastrophe, I think they're looking pretty good right now. So. Any other thoughts about that? Any other just general thoughts about SEC basketball right now?
I mean, we covered a lot. Again, it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks. See how things shake up. So I think that Florida and Arkansas. I'm really interested to see Arkansas and Alabama tonight. That's going to be a fun one. I think Florida can probably end their season, with the same 2 losses in conference play. I think they can finish this thing off strong. Interesting to see kind of the teams on the bubble. Auburn, big game. Every game for them is a big game now. So those teams that are in the back half of the standings: Georgia, Auburn, State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. They've only got 3 SEC wins. Interesting to see how they finish it off. But I mean,
let's talk Auburn for a minute, because I know you've been covering Auburn, and again, same thing, 4 wins in a row, and then you kind of hit the schneid. Auburn hits the schneid, and so what are some things, and let's say three things that Auburn needs to do to kind of get back in the win column.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to guard better. This is Arkansas the other night was like the 3rd straight game they've allowed a backcourt player to amass more than 25 points or 20 points. Vanderbilt, Tyler Tanner, Alabama with Philon, Arkansas, Darius Acuff, and then tonight they've got the league's best scorer in Josh Hubbard. So they've got to find a way to limit some of these explosive guards. Number 2, I think that Keyshawn Hall might be, an X factor. He obviously sat out last game against Arkansas. It was greatly missed. I think he was missed on the defensive end a lot, a lot more than he really was on the offensive end. Will he make a factor against Mississippi State? I think so. And then number 2 is just, can they find ways to start games off strong? It really seems like the past few losses, they're on a 4-game skid right now. They've really just dug themselves in holes to start the thing off. So can they come out and can they punch the other team in the mouth? Can they keep that lead and finish the, ride off a lead that they get early in the game into the final buzzer? Just 3 simple things. I guess not a lot easier said than done, but 3 things that I need to see Auburn improve on, and if they want to continue to be in the conversation for the tournament.
I mean, Pettiford's playing better. You got some encouraging things that that are going on down in the Plains. Hopefully you're getting whatever issue that Hall's got, where he was suspended, you're getting that straightened out. A lot of times when you get that straightened out, they come back stronger and better. That's kind of scary. For the other teams.
Keyshawn Hall.
Yeah, and then you've got Keyshawn Murphy playing extremely well. And we talked about it earlier. Interesting matchup tonight. Him going back to Mississippi State and facing his former team. And so I think there are some encouraging things for Auburn. They're playing a little bit better defense than Alabama. So but that's something that certainly can always step up. But my question to you is, do they make the tournament? As we're sitting here right now, what's your projection looking into the crystal ball? Are the Auburn Tigers going to be in the NCAA tournament?
I'm going to say yes right now. Now again, this game tonight against Mississippi State is huge. It's a must-win. You can't afford to lose it. I think that looking at Auburn's schedule, you can afford losses at home against Kentucky. I mean, that would be a big one if you want it, but you can afford it, and you can probably afford a loss to Alabama on the road. But you got Mississippi State, you've got Ole Miss, you've got LSU, and you've got Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not a surefire win like they were a couple weeks ago. That'll be a tough one. LSU's the worst team in the league. You got to take care of business there. Ole Miss has really slid down the second half of the conference slate, so got to take care of business there. And then Mississippi State, obviously tonight, you got to take care of business there. I think Auburn can. I think that they can win all 4 of those games. If they can go 4-2 in this stretch, I think they're in.
What's Auburn's strength of schedule?
Number one. They rose to number 1 this week.
Okay, but I thought Bama's was number 1.
They rose this week. They swapped.
Okay. So Bama and Auburn both have a elite strength of schedule. That helps both teams.
So Auburn's played the number 1 hardest schedule so far through 25 games. Their current 4-game losing streak has come all against quad 1 opponents.
You got to win at Florida. That's huge. Yeah,
they've played the most quad 1 games of any team in the country, which is 14, and they've posted 4 wins in those 14 games. So the win at Florida is huge. Nobody else can say that right now.
Probably the biggest win all year.
Yeah, it's huge. It's what's holding. Yeah. If they had not won that Florida game, then everything I just said would be you'd have to axe it. So Florida win was huge. They picked up a huge win in non-conference play against St. John's. That one's proven to be really big. And the win at home against North Carolina State is also proven to be very big. So you slam together a brutal non-conference schedule. You did have some pretty ugly losses there, but you did pick up some pretty crucial wins. So maybe those couple wins paired with that Florida win, and if you can steal one from Kentucky or Alabama, that would be something that a positive at least to end the season. So it's been tough sledding for Auburn and Stephen Pearl in his first year. He's kind of had to navigate a lot of the SEC schedule with a struggling Kahad Pettiford or an absent Keyshawn Hall or a unhealthy Keyshawn Murphy at some points in the season. So all in all, there's games that Auburn should have won, could have won, but for now it's just one game at a time, and you must take care of business.
All right, who's your surprise of the year in the SEC? When we talk teams that are, your biggest surprise.
I'm gonna go Vanderbilt. I mean, so we already talked about them. Four losses in SEC play. They were undefeated coming in. Mark Byington, we talked a little bit about, let's go ahead and integrate this into our conversation. Then we were going to talk about Coach of the Year, and that's who I've got as mine. Vanderbilt's he seems to be building a program at Vanderbilt. Last season, that was the first 21 season since 2012. Last year was. So it was the first time that a first-year head coach had done that since 1987.
Let's talk about Vanderbilt's athletic program just in general. I mean, has it ever been this good?
Yeah, I've been alive.
I mean, hey, I don't necessarily want this to be the Vandy show, but I mean, we make, Hoyt Elliott here in Jasper happy. But you talk about what they've done on the baseball diamond. You talk about what Clark Lee has done with football and now what they're doing in basketball. I mean, this is a program that's really on the up and up right now.
Yeah.
And so it's a Vandy sweep for surprise of the year and coach of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Vanderbilt athletics, I went to a couple of Vanderbilt baseball camps when I was a kid, and got to observe Tim Corbin, and that was awesome. They've always had a great baseball program. Clark Lee, I'll be interested to see what it looks like next year. Without the Pavia Kiel connection there, on the offensive side of the ball, I do like Clark Lee. I think he's a program builder. But can he, sustain that level of success without Diego Pavia, who I really did think I thought he was probably the best player in college football. He was the most impactful player in college football last year. will he be able to sustain that without Pavia? And then obviously basketball is great. Yeah, so Vanderbilt, clean sweep. So it'd be interesting to see if they can keep that up.
I'm kind of in between Vanderbilt and A&M on the surprise of the year. I'm kind of in between those two. I mean, I know A&M has been good, but to be where they were mid-January was a surprise. It was a surprise to look at the standings, and they're at the top of the standings. But I'm with you. I'm gonna go with Vanderbilt for surprise of the year, and then coach of the year. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to just agree with you. I mean, I don't have any really counterpoint. Byington's doing a great job. All right, who's give me the Lenardi. Let's talk NCAA basketball tournament. Let's give me the Lenardi predictions right now. Who's in, who's out, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk SEC.
Yeah. ESPN's got 9.5 expected bids in the SEC, 8.5 at large. Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee are locks. They're your 5 locks. Your should-be-ins are Kentucky, Georgia, Auburn, and Texas. Got some work to do is Texas A&M and Missouri. Long shots, Oklahoma, LSU. So, you're looking at, other than Oklahoma and LSU, who are probably completely out of things, again, we're talking about 14 potential. That's not happening this year.
Why is that? Why does LSU have work to do? I feel like they just they ought to be out.
No, LSU is out. Work to do, Missouri,
Okay.
Texas A&M, long shots, Oklahoma, LSU.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma, LSU, I think Oklahoma's got 3 wins in the SEC. I don't even know what LSU's is, what their conference
They're
record
next to
is.
last. South Carolina's in last place right now. So yeah.
Yeah. So, another year to where you have a lot of teams contending. Obviously we don't need to talk much about Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and Bama and Tennessee. It's
What's he got Florida ranked at? What seed has he got? 2 seed?
I'm not looking at the bracketology.
Okay, I've got it right here. Let me see. Okay, I can't. Yeah, he's got on the bubble. He's got A&M, and Georgia, last 4 buys, and then first 4 out right now is Missouri. But Florida. Let's take a look at this real quick. I think he's got Florida as a 2 seed right now.
Yeah, I can certainly see Florida as a 2 seed. So, I mean, yeah, I don't. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier. Is I think what you're getting from the top half of the SEC. It's just gonna be interesting to see what those should be ins, your Kentuckys, your Auburns, your Georgias, and those teams do down the final stretch of the season.
And I mean, Alabama's one of those. Unless we can talk about Alabama for just a minute. I mean, sometimes you don't know what Alabama's going to do in the tournament. Of course, I mean, you don't know what anybody's going to do in the tournament. I'm by far the worst bracket picker in history. I mean, like I'm terrible. My 4-year-old daughter just boat raced me.
Well, you sit there and you overthink it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I went all chalk last year and won my league. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just I'm not good at it, and I don't know why. But is Alabama as good as they were last year? No, I don't think so. Could Alabama make a run? Absolutely. I like the fact that Amari Allen is stepping up a little bit more. We talked before about having that third scorer. He's stepping up into that role. Sherrell is providing some quality. I mean, decent minutes. I mean, he's limited on his minutes, but he's when he gets in there, he will do something. That's very encouraging. And then you've got one of the most prolific backcourts in the SEC, and I feel like you get hot you can make a run. The flip side of that is if you're not shooting well, you're not going to make a run. So I feel like, if I had to predict right now what Alabama's going to do, I say they're going to end up being about a 3 seed in the tournament. I don't think they're going to get to the 2 seed mark, but I think they can be a 3 seed. And depending on the draw, I think they could make a little bit of a run.
Yeah, when you look at Alabama, they're a team that can make a run because they're capable of scoring at a high clip, night in and night out. So, obviously you'd like to see the defense step up a little bit down the stretch, but when you get into March and you're hitting, double-digit three-pointers every game and consistently building off that, Alabama's capable of doing that, and that's what makes them so dangerous. So, when you go back and you look at the 2019 Auburn run, the Final Four, that was a middle-of-the-pack SEC team. Well, they had 8 seed in the March Madness tournament, and obviously they had the first game against New Mexico State that was scary for Auburn fans, right? And then you go on and you beat Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, double dribble, should have played in the national championship. That's the most egregious call I've ever seen. Take off the orange and blue glasses. It's the most egregious call I've ever seen. So, it doesn't take a 20-win, 22-win regular season to go make a run and win the March Madness tournament.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing about Alabama is it's not that they don't have the personnel. It's not that they lack something from a personnel standpoint in order to get it done. It's a commitment thing. In my opinion, it's a little bit of an effort thing. And they know what the problem is, and so it's a fixable thing. It's not like, hey, we just don't have the talent. Do you have the best team you've had in the Nate Oates era? No. But you've got one of the best players. You've got one of the best shooters. You've got role players that can play extremely well. And so if you can just fix that one thing, they've got a chance. They can shoot. Alabama can shoot the ball. They're athletic. They're long. And so again, if you can just commit yourself and fix that, you can make a bona fide run. And so I would like to see that happen. Is it going to happen? Again, who knows? Because who knows who they're going to draw in the tournament. But
yeah.
Give me a team that that you feel like outside of kind of the ones that we've talked about, a team that could really make a run.
Texas. I've already talked about Dalen Swain. I think Arkansas too. I know we've already talked about Arkansas.
I'm with you.
We've talked about Arkansas. Just the fact of how athletic they are from 1 through 5. I really like that Arkansas team. Cal's obviously got the experience to go along with that. Dalen Swain, 17.7 points per game. So he's kind of carrying the Texas team on his back a little bit. But that's a team that, again, I think, we talked about it earlier, 5 straight right now. Can they carry that momentum throughout the remaining half of this SEC slate? Can they ride it into the SEC tournament? I think they can. I said when they played Auburn in Neville Arena a couple weeks ago, like, hey, that's a team that can be really scary in March. So I'll go with Texas kind of as my dark horse, maybe, I guess.
I like that. Well, and another thing too, I forgot to give my player of the year, so I'm giving my player of the year right now. I forgot to mention that. So I'm going to go with Fallon. Obviously I've watched more Alabama basketball than any other team, but he's the second leading scorer right now, I think, on a team that's getting better and near the top of the SEC, and so that's my vote for player of the year. I feel like some of the other guys, like Josh Hubbard. Obviously great player, but Mississippi State is not in the conversation And so I guess in a way I kind of tend to think like, who's the best player on a team that's in the conversation of being, and maybe that's the wrong way to think about things, but I just when I'm thinking about, the SEC's top player that I'm going to give an award to, that's the conversation. And it's not all about scoring. I mean, it's, but I just think the way Fowler's playing right now, I really feel like he's hitting a stride and is shooting the ball extremely well. And so, that's my vote for player of the year.
Yeah, you make a great point. And that's what might get Phylon that recognition at the end of the year, is that he is on an Alabama team that's 18 and 7.
18 and 7.
So that certainly could be the deciding factor.
Nothing against Josh Hubbard. I think he's a great player. I mean, he was incredible last year.
Right. I mean, if we're talking straight numbers and on-court production from a sole single-player standpoint, I'm going Josh Hubbard. He's averaging 21.4 right now. That leads the SEC. He had 32 points against Ole Miss the last time out for them. He hit a couple of threes, which made him have, he had 284 now, which is the all-time program leader in three-pointers made at Mississippi State. And I was doing a little bit of stat digging there. Looking up Josh Hubbard, he became the first SEC player during the 2000s and the fifth in history to amass 525 points during his freshman, sophomore, and junior years. He's averaging 28.8 points per game when Mississippi State wins, which is, only 4 times in conference play, and he's under the 20-point mark in their losses. So, in their wins, he's pretty much just one of the big reasons as to why Mississippi State's winning, is, can he get the production, from his teammates to help him out?
Yeah.
If a Josh Hubbard was on a Florida or a Arkansas, and I don't think it'd be any question who the best player in the SEC.
Yeah. All right, prediction time. We got to go after this, but Auburn, Mississippi State. This will probably air afterwards. I mean, we're going to look bad. I mean, but either way, but if we don't call it the right way, but Auburn, Mississippi State, who wins it?
Give me, if Keyshawn Hall suits up, give me 88-82 Auburn.
Okay. What about Bama, Arkansas?
That is and it's at Coleman, ain't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Not this year, it doesn't.
Not as much.
I'm going to go.
Well, I'd rather be there than Bud Walton Arena. It matters if you're in Bud Walton Arena.
Yeah.
But,
John Calipari, he's going to be met with some booze. And I think that he kind of likes that, though. I think he thrives in that environment. I'm still going to go Bama. I'm going to pick this one at 97 Alabama to 91 Arkansas.
Okay, I like it.
You know what? I don't know if Arkansas gets 91.
Really? Bama puts the vice grips to it.
I don't know.
Okay, defensively.
We'll see.
Oh, gosh, this is a tough one. I mean, Auburn, Mississippi State is a tough one. I'm gonna go Auburn. I think Keyshawn Hall coming back, and I think he's going to play. It's going to make a difference that Pearl sat him, and they're going to be ready to play, and they're going to get it done in Starkville. And then I think Bama gets it done. So that's my Auburn and Alabama. I wanted to go with my 2 alma maters because I'm a Mississippi State graduate and an Alabama graduate, but we're going to go with Auburn and Alabama.
There you go.
All right, man. Good stuff, and we'll see everybody next time.